So welcome to chapter 11. In this chapter, you will learn how to create an isometric drawing of a cafe. And this chapter is very useful for graphic and interior designers to create concept art. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to the first lesson on how to draw an isometric cafe. Alright, as usual, open up the exercise file from the resource folder. Now you will see two reference layers. The first one is the isometric drawing itself, and the other one is the isometric grids. Alright, now you will be drawing on the top layer. So first, let's rename it to wall and floor. And we will trace the wall and the floor in this layer. So next, lower down the opacity of the cafe layer. Now lock the guide and the grid layers. Then select the top layer to draw. Now for clarity purpose, I'm going to use an orange stroke to trace my drawing. Now click on the pen tool and start tracing. Alright, so just click and drag to trace it. Now let's trace the floor area. Okay, remember to hold shift to draw a straight line. Alright, now let's turn off the guide and the grids layer, and you should have something that look like this. Okay, now let's turn on the layers again and draw the window area. Alright, now let's draw the blinds. Okay, now just duplicate the rest of it. Okay, now let's have a look without the grid. Next, use the eyedropper tool to copy the color from the reference layer. Just select the parts and apply it. All right, now let's color the window. Okay, select the blinds and make it brown. Now select the drawing and turn it to full opacity. Okay, now let's apply gray color to the window frame. Now let's apply a gradient blue to the window glass. All right, now select all the parts and group them together. Okay, now let's make a copy to the left. Now let's finish up the floor area. All right, so there you have it, a basic isometric floor plan. So remember to save your file for the next lesson. All right, so on that note, I will see you in the next one. All right, so welcome back to another lesson. In this lesson, we're going to add some wall details in our cafe drawing. All right, now let's copy the logo from the previous lesson that we have done. Okay, now let's copy the menu as well. Now select the logo, then go to Effects, select 3D materials, then Extrude and Bevel. Now your logo should become a 3D signage. Now change the rotation to isometric left. All right, now let's adjust the depth level. Now let's place it on the wall. Okay, now let's make it smaller. Next, use the rectangle tool and draw a rectangle. Okay, now let's choose a wooden color. Select the rectangle and click Extrude. Now change the rotation to isometric left. Now lower down the depth to 15 pixels. Next, select the menu text, go to Object, select Expand, and uncheck the Fill and the Stroke. Select the text again, go to Effects, 3D and Materials, 3D Classic, and select Rotate. Alright, now change the rotation to isometric left. Now make the text smaller and place it in front of the rectangle. Now right click, go to Arrange, and bring it to the front. Now group the text and the rectangle together. Then make a copy to the left. Okay, now let's move the grid layer to the top. Now align the rectangle to the grid. Now move the grid layer down and hide it. Alright, so there you go. And that is all for this lesson. So remember to save your file, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright, so welcome back to another lesson. In this lesson, we're going to create the surface counter. So first, turn off the wall and the floor layer. Now turn on the grid layer and create a new layer. Now rename it to counter. Next, select the pen tool and choose a stroke color. Alright, now let's trace the counter. Hold Shift to create a straight line. Alright, once you're done, use the eyedropper tool to copy the color to the counter. Now apply a green color to the signage. Select the counter and turn it to full opacity. Okay, now group them all together. Now select the text tool and type Hawaii Coffee. Now make it yellow. Go to Object, Expand, and uncheck the fill. Now go to Effects, 3D and Materials, 3D Classic, and select Rotate. Then change the rotation to isometric left. Next, hide the counter layer. Now create a new layer, and we're going to draw the details on the countertop. Okay, now let's draw the coffee machine. Next, let's draw the food display right. Now group this together and create a copy. All right, by now you should have something that look like this. Okay, now let's color the coffee machine. Next, let's draw the donuts. Create a small circle. Go to Effects, 3D and Materials, and select Revolved. Now change the rotation to isometric left. Okay, place it on the food rack, and this will be our donuts. Next, use the ellipse tool to create a shape like this. Then go to the 3D panel and inflate it. Now rotate it to isometric top. Okay, so this will be our breadths. Next, draw a circle and extrude it. Change the depth to 20 and rotate it to isometric top. Now lower down the taper value to half, and this will be our coffee cup. All right, so there you go. So feel free to add more details if you want. Okay, so that is all for this lesson. Don't forget to save your file, and I'll see you in the next one. So welcome back to another lesson. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to create all the furnitures in this cafe. So first, let's create a furniture layer. Now draw a circle, go to Effects, 3D and Materials, and select Extrude and Bevel. Change the depth to 7 and rotate it to isometric top. Create another copy, increase the depth, resize it, and place it on the top. Alright, now make this bigger, change the color, and place it on the top. Alright, now select all the parts and group them together. And this will be our table. Next, use the rectangle tool and draw a square. Now select the square, go to Effects, 3D and Materials, and select Extrude and Bevel. Now change the depth to 150 pixel. Okay, now rotate it to isometric top. Alright, now make a few copies and put 70 pixel for the depth. Next, create a square and make it gray. Now make the corners round, go to Effects, 3D Materials, and select Extrude and Bevel. Now lower down the depth and rotate it to isometric top. Alright, now repeat the same process for the backrest. Okay, now go to Arrange and Send to Back. Again, select the right leg and send to back. Okay, now let's add some final adjustment. Select all the parts and group them together. And this will be our chair. Alright, now all you have to do is rearrange and duplicate all the furnitures to fill up the space. Okay, now select the chair, right click and ungroup it. Now reposition the legs. Okay, now delete the front right leg. Select the left leg, right click, go to arrange and bring to front. Once you're done, select all the parts and group them together. Alright, now make another copy, and there you go. So that is all for this lesson. I hope you enjoyed this lesson and learned something new. And on that note, I will see you in the next one. Alright, so welcome to the final lesson of our isometric chapter. So in this lesson, we're going to create some decorative plans to finish up the drawing. So first, let's create a new layer. Okay, now select green color and start drawing with the pen tool. So we're going to start by drawing the leaves. Now once you're done, add new anchor points between the leaves. Alright, now use the direct selection tool and move the anchor points. Alright, now curve the leaf by dragging the anchor points. Okay, now make a copy and lower down the opacity. Now place it to the front and rotate it slightly. All right, now create a circle. Go to Effects, 3D and Materials, and select Extrude and Bevel. Now change the rotation to isometric top. Okay, now place it behind the leaves. Now create another circle for the vase. Extrude it and rotate it to isometric top. Now lower down the taper value. Select the vase, right click, go to Arrange and Send to Back. Alright, now let's add some final adjustment and group them together. Now let's make a copy to the right. Alright, now turn on the grid layer and bring it to the top. Okay, now let's do a final check to make sure everything is aligned with the grids. Alright, so there you go. So this is how you can create a professional isometric drawing in Illustrator. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson and remember to send me your progress. And on that note, I will see you in the next one. Welcome to our 3D chapter. In this chapter, you will learn everything about creating 3D arts and 3D typography. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So welcome to our 3D lesson. In this lesson, you will learn how to create some basic wireframe and 3D artwork. So first, select the stroke and turn off the fill. Now select the rectangle grid tool. Now put 9 by 9 on both dividers and click OK. Okay, now click and drag to create the grid. Next, click on the free transform tool and select perspective distort. Now just click and drag and scale it down. Next, go to Object, select Envelope Distort, and Make with Mesh. Now use the Direct Selection tool to move the middle parts of the grid. You can drag either up or down to create a 3D effects like this. Alright, so feel free to move around to experiment with different shapes as you like. Next, create a polar grid with 10 dividers on both sides. Next, select the grid, go to Object, Envelope Distort, and select Make with Mesh. Put 4 by 4 and click OK. Again, click the free transform tool and select Perspective Distort. Alright, now let's rotate it. Now use the direct selection tool to pull the middle part out like this. Next, select the line segment tool and choose the yellow stroke. Okay, now let's draw a line and make a copy. Now select both of it, go to Object, and select Blend option. Again, go to Object, select Blend, and Make. Now you should have something that look like this. Now select the lines, go to Object, Envelope Distort, and select Make with Mesh. Put 6 by 6 and press OK. Now you can start pulling it up and down to create a landscape effects. Alright, next, create an oval shape with the ellipse tool. Now go to Effects, select 3D and Materials, then select Revolve. Okay, now click Expand as Wireframe. Okay, now choose the stroke color and increase the stroke weight. Alright, there you go. Next, use the rounded rectangle tool and create the rounded rectangle. Okay, now use the polygon tool and create a hexagon. Alright, now use the curvature tool and draw a C shape like this. Now all you have to do is select the line, go to Effects, select 3D and Materials, and select Revolved. And you will get a 3D shape like this. Okay, now just repeat the same process with the hexagon. Do it on the rectangle as well. Now let's resize it. So once you're done, click Expand as Wireframe. Then select a color and increase the stroke weight. All right, so this is how you can create different types of 3D wireframe art in Illustrator. So feel free to try with different shapes and color and see what you will get. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this lesson. And on that note, I will see you in the next one. So welcome back to another 3D lesson. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to create some basic 3D shapes. So first, let's create some basic shapes. Okay, now create a triangle, square, circle, and a star shape. All right, now go to Effects, select 3D and Materials, and select Inflate. Okay, so there are 4 different types of 3D options that you can choose from. So the first one is the plane. Just click and drag this icon and you can rotate it around. So next is the extrude option, and this will turn the shape from 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional. So the third one is extrude and bevel. And the fourth one is inflate. All right, at the bottom here, you can adjust the depth, twist, taper, and volume settings. Okay, so go ahead and try it out to get familiarized with it. Okay, as you can see, we are currently only inflating in just one side. So click on this icon if you want to inflate in both sides. Okay, now let's turn it off. All right, now here you have the rotation settings, which we have learned in the previous lesson. So next we have the materials option. So here you can choose different kinds of textures and materials to use. Okay, just select the shape and apply it. All right, now at the bottom here, you have the roughness and the metallic settings. And this will allow you to change the reflectiveness of the surface. Now the last one is the lighting option. So here you have 4 different presets to choose from. The standard, diffuse, top left, and right. Okay, so this is how you can change the direction of the light source. Now click on this icon and you can change the color of the lighting. Now here you can adjust the intensity, rotation, height, and the softness of the light. Okay, now let's turn on the shadow. And here you can choose the shadow position. All right, once you're done, click on this icon in the top corner, and this will allow Illustrator to render your image. Now, if you click on this drop-down menu, you can choose the quality of the rendering. Okay, now let's click render. All right, now let's add some final touch-up on the shadow. Okay, once you're done, export it to PNG file. All right, so there you go. So this is how you can create realistic 3D arts in Illustrator. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and on that note, I will see you in the next one. So welcome back to another 3D typography lesson. Okay, so first, use the text tool and type the word create. Next, go to Object, select Expand, and click OK. Now press Ctrl 8, and if you're on a Mac, press Command 8, and this will activate the Make Guides option. Next, go to Effects, select 3D Materials, and select Inflate. Now select the Off Axis Front option. Okay, now let's change the light settings. So you can use your own settings. It doesn't have to be the same as mine. All right, next we're gonna import a custom texture. So go to File and select Place. You can use your own pictures as long as it is in JPEG file. So once you place it in Illustrator, drag it into the material panel, and you will see the Add Graphic icon. Okay, now let's add some reflection. Now click on the texture that you have imported and apply it on the text. Now click on it again and drag it to the next. All right, now all you have to do is repeat the same process. Just click on the materials and drag it. All right, so there you go. So this is how you can create 3D typography with your own texture. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson. And on that note, I will see you in the next one. All right, so welcome back to another 3D lesson. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to do 3D modeling in Illustrator. So first, select the pen tool and draw a line like this. Next, use the direct selection tool to curve the angle. Okay, now make it bigger and increase the stroke weight. Again, use the pen tool and draw a line like this. Now use the direct selection tool again and curve the angle. Now draw a horizontal line like this. Again, use the pen tool and draw a 7 shape like this. Okay, now select the anchor point and curve the angle. Next, select the lines, go to Effects, and select 3D Materials and Revolved. Now change the offset direction to right edge. So if you follow correctly, you should see a cup shape like this. Alright, now let's select the line at the bottom and revolve it. Again, change the offset direction to right edge. Now select the cup holder part and click Inflate. Next, rotate it to isometric left. Okay, now let's lower down the depth of the cup holder. Now place it into position. Select the cup, right click, go to Arrange, and bring it to front. Okay, now group it all together. Next, go to Material and increase the reflectiveness. Okay, now adjust the lighting to your preference. Now once you're done, go to File and place the coffee texture into the cup. You can download this photo from the resource folder. Alright, now drag the photo into the material panel. Now delete it from the document area. Now apply the coffee texture into the cup. Now reposition it and click Render. Next, use the curvature tool to draw the vapor effect. Now select the line, go to Effects, select Blur and Gaussian Blur. Now adjust the radius and click OK. Alright, now make a few copies. And there you have it. And this is how you can create a 3D coffee model in Illustrator. Next, let's add some final touch-up to the coffee poster. So open up the document file from the previous lesson. Okay, just copy the logo and paste it on the poster. Alright, now let's place the address as well. And finally, copy and paste the background. Select the background, right-click, go to Arrange, and Send to Back. Okay, now double-click on the pattern. Now resize the pattern. Now once you finish resizing, click Done on the option bar. Alright, so there you go. So this is how you can create a beautiful 3D coffee poster in Illustrator. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and on that note, I will see you in the next one. Alright, welcome to the final 3D lesson in this chapter. So in this lesson, you're going to learn how to model a 3D donuts. So first, use the ellipse tool to create a circle. Now apply a light orange color to the circle. Okay, now make a copy and make it smaller. Now select both of the shapes, go to Window, and turn on the Pathfinder. Now click minus front to remove the circle. Alright, now create another copy and make it smaller. Okay, now let's change the color, and this will be our topping. You can use any color that you want. Alright, now select the circle, go to Object, select Envelope Distort, and make Width Mesh. Okay, now use the Direct Selection tool to reshape it. Now place it right on top of the circle. Next, select the circle, go to Effects, select 3D and Materials, and click Inflate. Now select Inflate both sides. So next, extrude the topping and lower down the depth. Select the donuts and rotate it to isometric top. Alright, now adjust the reflection and the lighting. Okay, now turn on the shadow. Alright, now press render. And there you go. Now let's create another copy. Now use the brush tool to create the sprinkles. So next, use the ellipse tool to create an oval. Now select the oval, go to Effects, select 3D and Materials, and Inflate. Click Inflate both sides and rotate it to isometric top. Now adjust the materials and the lighting. Okay, now just keep copy and paste to create more sprinkles. Right now, I'm just gonna speed up the video and add some final touch up. Okay, now select the toppings, go to Window, select 3D and Materials, and twist it. Okay, now let's make it into a chocolate donuts. Alright, so this is how you can create a 3D donuts in Illustrator. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and on that note, I will see you in the next one.